was reading the script and I was like, guys, I'm going to start talking like this and everyone's going to be like, what are you doing? And they're like, I don't care. You're going to, Claudia
Right.
Whitehead was like, I don't care. You're going to stick to the script. And so I went up there and I literally had a script in my hand and I said, good evening, distinguished guests. And I remember it just fell so flat. Like the audience was like, why is Forbes talking like that? And I just took a huge swing and I looked at the sponsors and I folded the paper up. And I remember I said, make some noise for Taiwan. And the place erupted. And we brought the delegation on stage and, they had a very specific way that they wanted things to go.
Yes.
We did it the Phoenix Venture Cafe way and they were more excited.
Yeah.
I remember our distinguished guest was, he was like, I feel like an NBA player. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, I'm glad I still, got a gig.
I know. I think you gave me and Sarah a heart attack. We're like, oh, he's gone rogue. Like, what's happening?
Claudia said, she's like, you're lucky that worked.
Welcome to the very first episode of the Venture Cafe podcast. Today, I am excited to share the studio with one of my favorite storytellers. He is an entrepreneur, an author, a community builder, and a longtime partner in crime. He is also the CEO and co-founder of Extraordinary Podcast Network, best-selling author of Exponential Theory, a 25-time ghostwriter, and has helped bring 4 best-selling books to life. He was an integral part in launching Venture Cafe Phoenix and creating the community and culture you see today. Please help me welcome my good friend, Forbes Shannon.
Oh, thanks, Alex.
Yeah.
Wow, what an intro. That was really, really cool.
Yeah,
I
welcome
appreciate
to
it.
the first Venture Cafe podcast.
I'm so excited to be here. I do want to say to the audience really quick, like, just kind of frame up like how we know each other. I mean, so Alex and I, what was that, 4 years ago?
Yeah, 4.5.
4.5 years ago, Alex and I were given the opportunity uh, to build something unique. So, my mentor and the CEO of Extraordinary at Large, Aaron Bear, he was the guy who was part of the group that wanted to bring together, um, it was originally going to be called Collide, right? He was part of that group that was figuring out how do we build a center of gravity for entrepreneurship here in Arizona. And then when it became Venture Cafe Phoenix, he was able to, get you and I and put us at the center and step back and really give us something to just kind of run and grow with. And yeah, what you've done with Venture Cafe Phoenix, Alex, has just been remarkable. My time there helped me grow so much professionally, but also just as a human. And honestly, working with you and it was founding something for founders, right?
Yeah,
it was very
absolutely.
meta. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was a really good time. And yeah, so partner in crime would be a great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of my most favorite parts of building Venture Cafe is watching you and your growth
Thanks.
and how you've evolved over time, and would love for you to share that story with everyone. So, as we started Venture Cafe, did you expect it to turn into what it turned into?
Boy, we've come so far
Yeah.
from the first Venture Cafe. The first Venture Cafe was before we had a liquor license, and it was on St. Patrick's Day. So it was a dry St. Patrick's Day event, as if that wasn't hard enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, to see it grow from a room of 20, 30, 40 people to the event that you have now, 200 plus people every week,
Right.
it was awesome to grow inside that role.
Mhm.
Like when Aaron kind of brought me to the table, he kind of created the role for me and he was like, yeah, it needs to be someone with like an entrepreneurship background that does stand up. And apparently everyone's like, yeah, but who is that guy? And he's like, it's funny you say that. I actually know that guy. um, and it was at the time, that was when I was doing stand up full time.
Right.
And stand up was the dream. And it was this really good growing process for myself professionally, but also for me personally to do something adjacent to stand up,
Yeah.
right? Because it's not really stand up when you're emceeing an event like Venture Cafe Phoenix, but it is using all the same skills.
Mhm.
How do I build a container? How do I control a room? How do I balance the energy? How do I make sure that it's a hot stage that the next guest is going to come up on? You know,
Yeah.
how do I make sure that the stage is set appropriately? And it really was really challenging. It really was because it was hard to get used to speaking and telling a joke and having it just linger because it's
All
not a
flat.
comedy club.
Yeah.
It's the lights are all on,
Right.
and you just realize, okay, you're not here to tell jokes. And the thing that Aaron really helped me shift my mind for my personal brand and my professional brand was you can be a comedian with a message or you can be a really funny keynote, and one pays a lot better than the other. And I guess Venture Cafe was really a permission for me to start using my academic side again.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of in this vocation of stand up and stuff like that, where I turned off the academic side of my brain and I became very one dimensional. I just wanted to be funny.
Mhm.
And then when I realized, like, oh no, actually, I need to be up to speed on these technologies that we're talking about. I need to understand the state of the ecosystem. I need to understand really, like, the stage of these companies and, kind of become just by proximity, like have a really good understanding of what it takes to build a company. And it really gave me the encouragement to be able to go do that for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you talk about the evolution of going from a comedian to like a corporate MC,
Yeah.
I know that's something that you worked really hard on is making sure that you had the acumen, the language, and ensuring that everybody who came on that stage felt like a really important person. Like your
Mm.
intros, I mean, even the mayor says, I don't want anybody to introduce me except for Forbes, right?
That it's been fun to introduce Mayor
Yeah.
Kate as many times as I've had, and it's been an honor. Yeah, I think the hard part was being in the moment
Hmm.
because I would try and digest and repeat someone's LinkedIn bio, and I remember that just was like, this is no good. We had a very important announcement to make with a very strategic partner not too long ago that I came back to MC for.
Oh, I remember this story.
And
Oh, yeah.
I was given a script that I was told by the sponsors, you do not deviate from this script. And I was reading the script and I was like, guys, I'm going to start talking like this and everyone's going to be like, what are you doing? And they're like, I don't care. You're going to, Claudia
Right.
Whitehead was like, I don't care. You're going to stick to the script. And so I went up there and I literally had a script in my hand and I said, good evening, distinguished guests. And I remember it just fell so flat. Like the audience was like, why is Forbes talking like that? And I just took a huge swing and I looked at the sponsors and I folded the paper up. And I remember I said, make some noise for Taiwan. And the place erupted. And we brought the delegation on stage and they were they had a very specific way that they wanted things to go.
Yes.
We did it the Phoenix Venture Cafe way, and they were more excited.
Yeah.
I remember our distinguished guest was he was like, I feel like an NBA player. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, I'm glad I still, got a gig.
I know. I think you gave me and Sarah a heart attack. We're like, oh, he's gone rogue. Like, what's happening? But
Claudia said, she's like, you're lucky that worked.
no, but I think that's a risk and a chance that you took that was really successful. And I think that's something that I've been able to take away from my relationship with you
Mm,
at Venture Cafe is, you know, when to be in my authenticity,
yeah.
when to mask, and like when to just take that jump and take the risk.
I think you nailed it. I think it is authenticity. And I think it was, what I hope Venture Cafe it is, and I hope it maintains a space for is where you can be yourself,
Yeah.
you know, and because it's, every other networking event I've been to is so stuffy. Everyone's pretending to be a person, like a version of them that they're not, and I think Venture Cafe Phoenix does a really good job of just, you know, come as you are, be human,
Mhm.
right? Be interested in other people and be interesting,
Yeah.
and don't try and fit into something that you're not. And, I was really, really blessed to have this opportunity to kind of create, um, I guess, a vibe,
Yeah.
like it was definitely, I think I definitely made an imprint of there's definitely a piece of me at Venture Cafe because it was like, hey, this isn't going to be a typical networking event. We are going to make jokes, I am going to have fun with the guests,
Yeah.
like teasing sponsors, right? I remember doing that, and like people love it. And I think to that point, a tremendous debt of gratitude that I have is for you, for Tom Schuman and Patty Dubois at CEI, for the different stakeholders that we've had from the city of Phoenix, the ACA, GPEC, PBC, Wexford, all of the people behind those. You know, they really did. There was a lot of trust. They were like, "Hey,
Absolutely.
just do you."
Even when
And
there probably shouldn't have been.
100%. Yeah,
Mental health night.
yeah. Yeah, that was
Uh,
but, it was a good time because, like, I think that they knew that they were patient with me in letting me
Same.
find the groove and the line,
Mhm.
and I mean, sure, there were probably times I stepped over the line, before, but, they definitely gave me enough grace to figure out the groove and to really build a voice for a place that I think actually reflects the entrepreneurs that we have in Phoenix.
Yeah.
I think it is a fun atmosphere. I think there is a lot of education. I think that the people that we attract reflect the programming of high intellectual. Like in one room, they'll be talking about quantum physics, and then the other they'll be talking about water sustainability. And
Yes.
then you go out to the bar and you're talking about what you did last weekend. Like,
Yeah.
and that all happens all in one place.
Yeah.
And I think that's really special.
It really is. And you mentioned the leadership from CEI and,
Hmm.
the whole Maricopa Community College and all of our sponsors giving us that freedom to really explore. And I love to call Venture Cafe the sandbox
Yeah.
because it is an opportunity for people to fail.
Hmm.
And I think that trickles down and that safety that we've created trickles down from the leadership and what we've been able to do and what they've
Totally.
seen and modeled to what exists currently.
I think it reflects what founders go through.
Absolutely.
Like we've tried a couple things, and then Friday morning we meet and we're like, yeah, so that didn't work like at all. And then we tried some things where we're like, I don't know if this is gonna work, and we tried it and it worked better than we thought,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, that's the whole part about, you'll hear it in every entrepreneur that they're talking about, right? Fail fast, fail forward,
Mhm.
embrace failure. It's one thing to say that, but then it's another thing to have an organization that really walks that walk,
Yeah.
and to give us the opportunity to try new things and to build something totally unique. I mean, that's probably my favorite piece of feedback I've gotten is from people that have been to other Venture Cafe locations, and they're like,
Yeah.
this one's different. This
Yeah.
is totally different from the other ones. And I think they're all probably different. They all have their own vibe and their own culture that they live in. But it is cool to see, like, we put on a show.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
It's the
And
fun factor.
yeah, well, that's where the stand-up comedy imprint is still there. I mean,
Yeah.
we talk about a lineup, a run a
Mhm.
show, a
Mhm.
headliner, right? Like, we've got this built to replicate a lot of that and to bring it to a place where you wouldn't expect it to be fun and,
Right.
funny at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, okay, so going into, the founder's journey and a lot of what other people are experiencing, as they're in Venture Cafe, what was that pivot point when you realized, okay, I'm just the Venture Cafe guy?
That's a great point. I'm glad that you brought that up. I really did love, wearing the brand,
Mhm.
because I think I wore it pretty much exclusively for, like, a couple years,
Yeah, absolutely.
where you know, I think the reason to I wouldn't call it stepping away as much as I'd say stepping into my new thing was, hey, I'm ready to evolve my personal brand.
Yeah.
I'm ready to actually walk the walk and be a founder, and to have a business and to, explore these conversations further in a different way. Because yeah, I mean, at a certain point, I just was the venture cafe guy, and like people would say hi to me around town who had been to a venture cafe,
Yeah.
and I didn't know their name, which I felt terrible, but also they didn't know my name. They were like, "Hey, you're the venture cafe guy." And I was like, "I am the venture cafe guy." Yeah. And I think the funny thing is, like, we have that chant how we end every venture cafe,
Mhm.
every Thursday, 5 to
7
2 free.
drinks.
Right. And I came up with that on the fly.
Mhm.
I remember I was like, "Hey, we're gonna do a chant," and I didn't like. I'm saying this out loud to an audience full of people, and I'm like, I say every, you say Thursday, and then I'm like, okay, well, I need like 2 more beats for this chant to make sense. And then we
That's
went to 5 to 7, and then the thing that came out of my mouth was, "I say 2 free, you say drinks." And I remember at the Tom Schumann at the time is in the back, and I can see him like rolling over. He's like, "You are not gonna lead with that." And I was like, "Hey man, it just kind of came out and now it's stuck." Like it's cool to hear that tradition go on.
Yeah.
Um, and I say all of that to come back to your question of like evolving my brand and moving forward away from the venture cafe guy was I feel like I reached this point where everyone knew about me, but no one knew me.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I stuck to my talking points and I stuck to my script and, you know, I it's an egregious comparison. I will say like I understand there's a lot of ego in this, and but it is the clearest example I can say is like if you go to Disney, there's Mickey Mouse, right? And
Yes.
Mickey Mouse plays his role at Disney,
Yes.
and I was Mickey Mouse at Venture
You were
Cafe,
100%
and I
Mickey
was
Mouse.
ready to not be Mickey Mouse. I was ready to be Forbes, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it came with a character and it came with a cool part of what I was building, but it did change me
Yeah.
for sure. Like the role really changed me. Like, um, I learned how to I learned how to be much more intentional with my words,
Mhm.
not just on stage, but just in conversation.
Yeah.
Like to realize that every interaction you have, everybody you meet is a door. I got that from a podcast guest on the Extraordinary Stories podcast, Bally Bear. She said, "Everybody's a door, and I just want to open doors." I was like, "That's genius. I've never thought of it like that."
She's phenomenal.
She is great, and she's a phenomenal DJ at Venture Cafe
Yes, she
Phoenix.
is.
But you know, realizing that everybody's a door,
Mhm.
you never know what opportunities on the other side of every door. And so I learned to be much more intentional in being authentic of what you see is what you get and really sticking to that of, having to be a spokesperson for a brand forced me to be a spokesperson for myself.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just I just made that up, but that
That was
felt
so
good.
good. Well, I mean, that's why you do what you do and you're successful in the ways you are.
It made me better at improv comedy
Yeah,
for sure.
I could see that.
Made me a tremendous interviewer. Um,
Yes. Oh, and you're so good.
I had a good background in it from ghostwriting,
Right.
because you interview these people, you get their stories, and then you help them tell it. And there's a tremendous amount of trust that comes from
Mhm.
that. And I realized that the trust really comes from listening.
Yeah.
Like, I know it always drove you, Sarah, the programming team, and panelists crazy when I would MC a panel because everyone's like, "Where are the questions?" And I'm like, "Don't got any. We're just gonna rip it." you know, and there is a reason to that. It's not
Yeah.
from not wanting to focus on, I do my research, but it's if I'm so focused on what my next question is, I have to stop listening at a certain point
Absolutely.
so I can think about the next question. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to take myself out of the moment because I found that the best fireside chats and those panels, they came from stuff that was quote unquote off script.
Right.
And when you're the MC and you're managing different things like the temperature of the room, the time, you're got all
So
these other
many
things in
things.
your head, having a list of questions to just check off isn't I didn't have room for that. I made a choice to say that I'm not going to carry that.
Yeah.
I'm going to focus and I'm going to be present. And that's what Venture Cafe Phoenix, if I look back at it, what it really gave me was an ability to listen.
Mhm. Oh, that's fantastic. I think that's a lot of like a skill set that I've been able to home in with consultative selling.
Sure.
And you're essentially doing the same thing from the stage is, selling them on their own story
Yeah.
as well as to the audience of who they are. And it is a skill set I think a lot of people don't have. And it's something,
It's something that you can learn at Venture Cafe without having to be on stage because
yes.
if you can listen effectively in a networking conversation, you can actually have a conversation worth having.
Mhm.
Because you'll know when someone is not listening to you. Like they'll check out and you're like, okay, this is very transactional. You are trying to sell me some insurance or something, which someone tried to do once at Venture Cafe.
Yeah.
This is before we had our amazing insurance sponsor, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Someone just in the lobby tried to hawk their insurance to me. And I remember thinking, like, I'm going to make sure that never happens again. And then every time I went up on stage and gave the credo, I was like, this is not a place to sell your insurance. I
Yes.
don't know. That one guy just really stuck in my head. But, when you have this space of not selling,
Yeah.
which is what we have at Venture Cafe
Yeah.
Phoenix, people have to talk about something else.
Mhm.
The problem that salespeople make, in my experience, is they think I need to sell you, right? Something Aaron taught me is never get caught selling,
Mhm.
right? Listen, you know, and that's why I think you shouldn't go to an event to try and sell people on you. You shouldn't try to be this version. Like, don't give me a pitch about your product,
Right.
right? Let's have a human conversation first. Let's find something in common, and then I'll find out what you do.
Yeah.
Don't lead with, so what do you do? I can't. There's something about that question that just makes my skin crawl because
Yeah.
it's like, how are you going to distill my awesomeness into a job title? You know?
Well, and I think anywhere outside of the US, if you ask them what they do, like I remember working in Europe and my Amsterdam coworkers,
Mm,
"What do you do?" And they're like, "I bike ride and I'm a mother."
yeah.
And you're like, "Wait, no, like, no, that's not what I expected."
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That makes you feel real
Ooh,
American real
okay.
quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It does. So I think so many of us like use that as our identity and we forget our own identity.
Hmm.
And that's again, Venture Cafe allows you to have that identity. And this goes into the conversation that we've had with potential investors and people entering the ecosystem is it's not about the hard pitch. Like don't sell the investor, build a relationship. They're
Yeah.
investing in you as a person
Hmm.
and your tenacity and your mind and all the things you're doing and being able to build those quality relationships through listening,
Sure.
it just changes the whole.
I'll tell you a story. There was someone at Venture Cafe who I would get into these conversations with them, and I always felt burdened by the conversation. And then one day they thanked me. They were like, "Hey, you don't understand like how important this is for me socially to get out and to talk to these people." And it really helped me reframe like, okay, here I am thinking that someone giving me their time and energy is a burden. And there was another lesson that I learned from Venture Cafe is no one owes you anything. If someone's going to take the time out of their day to say hello to you, like that's them taking a swing and a
Yeah.
reach, and you should reach back out, and have a conversation. And to your point about like, people always taking, right? Hey, do you know, everyone, someone will come in, you can tell they're brand new at Venture Cafe because they're like, yeah, I'm looking for an investor. And it's like, stop.
Slow down.
Yeah. Like, let's start with your name, dude, right? Like, um, and you just realize that, when you are in the mindset that no one owes you anything, right? Then everything is a bonus.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in any conversation. You get to be in these conversations.
Yeah. It's such a mind shift,
Mhm.
mindset shift.
Mhm.
Um, as you exited Venture Cafe,
Yeah.
what was the catalyst in that? And how did that drive your, because I know you've worked on several different
Mhm.
organizations, have been in several different roles, but like how did that evolve for you to where you're at now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of times you find the red thread when you're retroactive.
Mhm.
And retroactively, I was looking at my life not too long ago and sitting on the beach in Hawaii. And I realized, like, yo, I've been like building community my whole life. Like,
Yeah.
the first website I made, I was a kid. I don't know. I was like 10. My dad helped me made it. I lived right next to this school called Pattongill. And Pattongill had a parking lot, huge parking lot. And in the winter, like, especially around like on the weekends in winter and on winter break, big snow would come and we'd shovel it off. And it was such a big parking lot, we could have like a full size hockey game, right? And so I started this website called the Pattongill Parking Lot Hockey Association, PPLHA. And I started this website where kids could go and sign up.
Yeah.
And um, my my dad took me to the store. We bought like a bunch of like secondhand sticks of all sizes, right-handed, left-handed. And the deal was if you brought a shovel and you helped shovel off the parking lot, we gave you a stick and you could play. And that grew to like 30 kids in a matter of
It's
weeks.
amazing.
Yeah, and it's something that you don't think about until you look back at it.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Okay, I've been building community my whole life, from the comedy troupe I started in college, the volunteer group I started in high school, to the Change Agents Academy, which came before Venture
Right.
Cafe, and then Venture Cafe, and now the Extraordinary Network." I just realized that community building was an important thing for me, and every opportunity that I've naturally gravitated to had that kind of, um ecosystem approach of pulling people together. And in every single one of them, I was the center of it, right? Like I
Right.
love to be the nucleus. I love to be the ringleader,
You're so good at it. Yeah.
and it's just a role that I really fell into of including people and inviting people and
Yeah.
curating a good place where people could hang out. And when someone was not cool, straightening them up or telling them to hit the road,
Yeah. We've
yeah.
we've had our fair share at Venture Cafe of those too.
But it's always come with a clear understanding where they're like, yeah, you're right. That wasn't cool that I did
Oh,
all that.
always.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. It's never without good reason and them understanding. Um, so moving into your role here now with Extraordinary, like
Yeah.
what sparked that idea for you and what were you hoping, like the problem you're hoping to solve?
Great. So it it's an evolution of ghostwriting. It's an evolution of the Change Agents Academy. Aaron has always put me in these positions to run a community to leverage his relationships, right?
Yeah.
We've got these people like Arizona After Dark, for example. It's a great example. 29 shows, 100 Mile Brewery
Yeah.
as a monthly show, sold out every single one. And it's evolved into this place where we can invite people to come and have a totally different experience than what they think we are, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so Extraordinary exists to connect other extraordinary people, right? So, Aaron built this really sophisticated piece of AI technology that we called it your yellow brick road. So, with some information, we do it with a podcast. The podcast becomes a transcript. It goes into the AI. We understand your yellow brick road, right? We understand where you're going. And then the AI suggests other people that you need to meet along your way. Your Tin Man, your Scarecrow, your Lion, right?
Got
We
it.
want to help you find the people to help you get to the land of Oz. And so my role there is to curate these experiences for people, to facilitate the introductions, and to help people strategize to get where they want to go. My biggest value add that I had in ghostwriting wasn't in writing a book. It was in building a business model around a book.
Yes.
There's no money in books. There's no
Right.
money in podcasts, but you can make a lot of money with a book and you can make a lot of money with a podcast as long as you have a clear understanding of why you're building the authority, who are the relationships you're going after, and what is the strategy of how you're going to deliver your value. So that's what we focus on in Extraordinary is the authority, the relationships, and the strategy to get people from Kansas to the land of Oz.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so on brand for you too with the community building and
It's the
problem
perfect role, and
solving and
the bulk of my time is spent interviewing people
yeah.
and talking to extraordinary people. And nothing, there's no better gig for me than to just be talking to people
Mhm.
and asking them, and really listening. What are your goals? What are the obstacles that are holding you back? If you could wave a magic wand and the perfect partner would appear, who are they? What do they look like?
Yeah.
And then being able to bring that to life,
Yeah.
that's it's tremendously rewarding, and it's a good way to, again, like with Venture Cafe, for example, is to build, if you want to be the center of a network, build a network and then just be at the center of it,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we achieved at Venture Cafe Phoenix was, we said, hey, we're going to build the center of gravity for entrepreneurship, innovation, and investors here in the valley. And the way that we did it was consistency,
Yes.
every Thursday.
Yeah.
I remember when we were starting, it was like, how is it Wednesday again already? Because it was a lean team when
It
we,
was a little daunting.
and that team is still lean, by the way. If you go to
Yes.
Venture Cafe Phoenix, make sure you thank a volunteer, you thank an ambassador, you thank anyone you see at the front desk, you thank Alex, you thank Sarah, because it is a daunting task to put on a new show every single week. I mean, we're doing like Saturday Night Live kind of stuff,
Oh yeah.
right?
Of
Like
course.
updating slide decks 5 minutes before people go on. And I know Sarah hates that. And
Don't do
so
it.
don't do that. If you're speaking at Venture Cafe, get your deck in early. But it's the consistency
Yeah.
that matters. To the
Absolutely.
point where when we would broadcast the message that we're closed for the odd Thursday because it's a holiday, people still show up and they're like, where is this?
Yeah.
That's how you do it, is if you consistently show up for people.
Mhm.
And the best way that you can get the value out of Venture Cafe Phoenix is to consistently show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're social creatures. We like
Hmm.
consistency, we like predictability.
Yeah.
And I think it goes a long way when someone shows up for you every week.
Sure. Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're also solving a problem here. I know a lot of us as entrepreneurs or community builders have these communities, but then we're the filter, right? Like, I have to connect everybody. I have to know who everybody is. I have to actually make the intros and the
Yeah.
emails.
Mhm.
And a lot of what you're doing with Extraordinary is alleviating that pain for us as community builders, where you have this network built and it automatically connects the people
Yeah.
and identifies those, and it doesn't all have to live in my brain and my inbox. Like,
Right.
I'm stoked about that piece of
Yeah,
this.
for sure, and the other cool thing about it is, we run a nomination only process,
Right.
right? So, to be in, you have to be nominated by somebody that was in,
Yeah.
and that's how you kind of have it self-policed,
Mhm.
because once people get in and they see the people, they're like, "I understand who should be here and who maybe isn't a fit to
A
be
great
here,"
point.
right? And so then you don't have to become the filter, right?
Yeah.
And Venture Cafe Phoenix, that's something that we kind of borrowed the idea from that because like people come because they saw an ad, they saw the event, they show up and they're like, man, I have three friends who are perfect for this kind of room. Because it's not everyone's room. It's for people who really want to learn,
Mhm.
people who really want to be connected, and it's for people who are doing things.
Right.
It's not a bar, it's not a hangout, but it is a place where you can go and actually learn something and you can meet someone. If to go full circle, if everyone's a door, why wouldn't you want to open as many doors of like-minded people that you can? And you
Right.
can do that at Venture Cafe Phoenix.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think now you can do it on the Extraordinary Network as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And we're excited to partner with Venture Cafe as our way of giving back to the community that we, benefited so much from is to, make this a possibility for Venture Cafe and eventually Venture Cafe Global
Yeah.
to have this kind of technology so that people can understand, hey, these are the people that are showing up. These are, what is your yellow brick road? What is your authority? Who are the relationships you really need? And then what's the strategy of once you have these relationships, what are you going to do about it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is such an incredible gift that you're giving to Venture Cafe. Being able to have access to this podcast, the studio here at Cul-de-sac,
Hmm.
the time with you again, being able to have you involved in this process and, you know, building this platform for us to build on
Yeah.
is incredible. So thank you. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that.
It's mine and Aaron and Christine's pleasure for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Hmm.
all three of them deserve all the credit in the world.
Thank you.
They have been just big supporters of not only Venture Cafe and you, but also of me. And I
Yeah,
appreciate
for
that.
sure. It's cool to see the genesis of those relationships, right? Like, now you work with the awesome team at 100 Mile Brewing Company,
Oh, yeah.
who, we know
Super
because we
exciting.
host Arizona After Dark there. Bethany is your partner in
Because
business,
of
and
Change Agents
and
Academy.
because of Change Agents Academy, and the reason she got into Change Agents Academy is because she's the first woman that ever put me on a stage that wasn't an Arizona State stage to do stand up when she was running Chop Shop. And so it's fun when you get to weave the web back and see all the different ways that people are connected
Yeah.
and to really be able to facilitate the like-minded connections,
Yeah.
right? Like you guys both were in Change Agents Academy, and then it was like, okay, we'll meet up in Venture Cafe and make it real in person.
Yeah.
And now you're both members of the Extraordinary Network, and so it just the web keeps weaving.
It does. It does. And again, not without community.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
thank you, Forbes. I've got a couple rapid fire questions for
I'm
you if you want
ready.
to
Let's do it.
do this. So what was one of the best pieces of advice you ever received?
Man, stop trying to be somebody else. I know that's so basic, but I was always borrowing from other people. And I realized that when I'm myself and when I'm open about my flaws and my vulnerabilities, that
Mhm.
moves the needle further in conversations.
Great. Um, if you could have coffee with one person, dead or alive,
Mm.
who would that be?
Man, I got a couple right off the dome. I mean, I would love to meet Bill Burr. He's one of my heroes. I think to meet Ted Sarandos from Netflix and kind of understand like how he was able to be so ahead of the curve would be really, really cool. Man, you really, can I do like fictional people?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
dude, I would love to have a beer with Han Solo. I
Oh,
think
that
that
would
would be
be awesome.
cool. Yeah, I think I could
I'd
learn
like
some
an invite to
swagger from
that.
him. Yeah.
And then in true Venture Cafe style, couple words, how can we help you?
If people listen more, that's going to be the way that I see this whole ecosystem rising. Everyone's so quick to talk about what they're doing. And I think if we took more time to listen to each other, we would realize that, because we're in a very spread out geographic location here in Arizona.
Yeah.
I think we would realize that there's a lot of resources going to solving the same problems. And collaboration, I think, is going to be the solution for not only an ecosystem, but it's definitely the number one thing that we talk about in the Extraordinary Network is that people are super collaborators.
Mhm.
Connections are great, but like when you collaborate and you build something together, that's when you can go really, really far. And the only way that you can start collaboration is to start listening to each other.
I love that. Well, thank you, Forbes,
My
for
pleasure.
being on this podcast. Thank you for donating this platform to us for the summer. I'm very excited about this partnership and getting to work with you again.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. Yeah,
Awesome.
and shout out Cul-de-sac Tempe for building our studio here. It's another person I met through Venture Cafe, Ryan Johnson, the CEO of Cul-de-sac, a very successful startup here in town. And yeah, I mean, the web just keeps weaving.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Venture Cafe Phoenix, an extraordinary podcast. Join us every week as we explore the ideas, partnerships, and people making Arizona a place to build. And if you're in Phoenix, come join us in person every Thursday from 4:30 to 7 at 850 PBC in the Phoenix BioCore, downtown Phoenix. Come as you are, show up when you can, and be part of a movement. It's free to attend, and yes, believe it or not, parking is free too. Venture Cafe Phoenix is made possible by the Center for Entrepreneurial Innovation at Gateway Community College, part of the Maricopa Community Colleges system. And it's also supported by the Maricopa Community Colleges Foundation, the organization behind Venture Cafe Phoenix and a catalyst for entrepreneurship, innovation, and community building throughout Arizona. Special thank you to our legacy sponsor, the City of Phoenix, and our founding sponsors, Arizona Commerce Authority, Phoenix Bioscience Corps, Arizona State University, and Wexford Science and Technology. If you'd like to help us continue these conversations and help keep them ad-free and available to all, you can make a contribution at mccc, that's 3Cs, df.org/donate. Select Other, enter Venture Cafe Phoenix, and if you'd like to support on an ongoing basis, check the box, make this a recurring gift. This podcast is powered by Extraordinary Podcast Network, the network for thought leaders. Learn more about Extraordinary at joinextraordinary.com. Recorded in the Extraordinary studio at Cul-de-sac, America's first purpose-built car-free neighborhood. Until next time, keep building, connecting, and innovating, and we'll see you at Venture Cafe Phoenix.